Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Back for another Geek Tavern. As always, it's me, Shawn, and I'm joined by Mike and Aaron.
Hey.
And today we will be having a spoiler discussion about my recommendation, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the perfect Thanksgiving movie. So, yeah, I guess let's just...
I disagree.
You disagree? Okay.
Yeah. The perfect Thanksgiving movie is Sam Raimi's Spiderman.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You forgot.
But, 1980, you have any idea?
88.
1988.
Somewhere.
88, 86.
Yeah. Directed by John Hughes, starring John Candy.
I'll tell you,
Steve
because
Martin.
it's going to bother me.
Okay. We follow Neil, he works for a odd cosmetic marketing team. 1987.
1987.
Okay. And he is on his way home for Thanksgiving. Whenever he gets trapped in a freak snowstorm in New York, he has to make his way to Chicago, so his flight is delayed, and he has to shack up with the talkative Del Griffith, played by John Candy. And hilarity ensues, and a perfect budding friendship happens. The film. What did you guys think of the film?
Personally, I love Todd Phillips' Due Date. It's great.
Yes, it's a good spiritual successor to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes, it's the same exact movie. Let's just be honest with ourselves. The same exact movie.
I've never seen that one.
It's a good one.
It's pretty funny.
Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, I know what the movie is. I just never seen it. But.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that this is. I've seen clips. I remember it was on TV once, but I was at work at my previous employment, and so I didn't really pay attention that closely. So this is really my first time through the whole thing, and I laughed pretty much at every turn. No pun intended.
Yeah, having both of those powerhouses at the time. Together in one movie, which I guess same can be said for Due Date. Like
my knowledge on John Candy is not very vast.
Yeah,
I've only seen. Is he in Spaceballs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he plays
Barf.
Yeah, that might be really the only thing I can think of that I've seen him in, other than clips of this.
I've seen tons of John Candy movies, and actually, I watched. There was a show called SCTV, which was kind of the rival to SNL, and John Candy was part of that. Like he was part of the whole cast of that. There was like Eugene Levy,
Chicago-based.
Catherine O'Hara,
okay,
Martin Short, John
Steve
Candy, Steve Martin made a couple of appearances in it.
I'm pretty sure that
I think he got his start on there.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm pretty sure that his name is escaping me for some reason.
Joe Flaherty was on it. Rick Moranis.
Yeah, Rick Moranis.
Dave Thomas. Yeah. That's where, like, in Brother Bear, Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis, they play the moose.
Yeah.
That's their characters from that show. But John Candy, like, I've seen a ton of, like, his stuff on that, like, all the different characters he's played and everything. Everything with John Candy's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't think that I've ever watched anything that wasn't funny with John Candy. Mm-hmm. JFK. That's a whole other... I mean, he was in it, but his role wasn't meant to be funny.
That's the sole exception.
But yeah, I've always liked this movie. My dad introduced me to this movie years and years ago, like when I was in high school, and I thought it was the funniest shit ever. And then when Due Date came out, I watched that, and I was like, this is the same exact movie.
Huh.
Yeah, I really like Del Griffith as a character, where he's just like a blowhard, and he's like, he doesn't like, he's kind of socially unaware of everything.
Yeah.
And the perfect opposite of that is Neil Page, where he's just like the most high-strung person you could ever think of, and those like characters just at odds the entire movie.
Yeah.
I think that like the first real head of that is whenever they go to the hotel room and they're like driving like in the middle of the night, and he's like, oh, he just wants to take the scenic route or whatever, and they show up to the hotel room and it's one bed, and they're like, oh, we have to share this. And they're all just like,
well, they I'm not gonna remember the actual characters' names because I can't think of them, but John Candy says that he can get him his own room because he knows the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he sold him the shower curtain rings.
Yeah. Every time that was brought up, I laughed hysterically.
And then, then the guy's like, "Oh, I only got one room left." And then they have to sleep in the same.
One of the funniest parts has to be when they wake up the next morning.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Well, before they even go to sleep,
Yeah.
and Dell's just sitting there and he's going,
Oh, yeah.
like, just like clearing his throat and everything. He's like, do you mind? He's like, whoa. He's like, I'm sorry, your perfect sinuses are clear.
Yeah, if I don't clear out my sinuses, I'll be a wreck for a week. He's like, do you ever shut up? He just like screams at him.
That's pretty funny when they walked in the room too. John Candy was like, "You want to grab a shower?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no,
Not together.
Yeah, that was great. Different time than that was.
Yes,
but
realized that kind of through the whole movie, to be honest.
Yeah. Yes, a little bit of a different time.
Oh, let's talk about back up a little bit to where Neil is racing to get the cab to get to his plane.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And who he races to the cab that ends up getting it.
Yeah.
I think I know.
Kevin Bacon.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I watched it with the other Aaron, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Kevin Bacon. I couldn't quite make
Kevin
out.
Bacon was like splashed into a lot of like just weird movies in his early career.
He was big at the time.
Well,
so
yeah.
it was kind of just like if you could throw him into a cameo. Like
Wasn't his first movie Friday the 13th? Part,
Probably.
It was either that or Animal House.
Yeah.
Was his first movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he played one of
Probably
the-
was Animal House.
He played one of the teens.
Where he gets
in-
trampled.
yeah.
He gets the arrow shoved through his neck. That's who.
I don't know if I've ever seen that whole movie.
And then, because it's similar to Johnny Depp, like being in Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
the first one. Two big actors getting their big break in a horror movie or something. I'm pretty sure that Animal House was before Friday the 13th. But anyway, Kevin Bacon races him to the cab and everything. And then Dell ends up with the other cab.
Yeah, that really puts the whole chip on Neil's shoulder in the first place.
Yeah.
He loses the cab because of John Candy's bat, like his box, like his chest that he just carries around with him. And then whenever he finally flags down, actually he pays like, what was it, $75?
Yeah, he's like, I'll give you $50 for this cab. He's like, anybody who would pay $50 would gladly pay $75.
Yeah.
And he's like, not necessarily.
Yeah, but he pays a lawyer $75 for his cab, and John Candy just steals out from under him.
You're a thief. Close. I'm an attorney. Yeah, that line.
And then he gets bumped back to regular class. I don't know what they called it back then. Just like regular
just
seating on the plane.
Yeah, normal.
And he just like
Coach
coach. He
Coach,
just
yeah.
happens to get seated right next to Del Griffin,
Yeah.
who takes his fucking shoes and socks off in the
Played
plane.
yeah.
Yeah,
My dogs are barking.
what a weirdo.
My dogs are barking today.
Like, who would do that?
Yeah, and then they end up in the hotel after they have to bypass O'Hare because of the snowstorm, and they land in Kansas.
Yep.
In the hotel scene, is it a thing that people put their socks in the sink? Like,
I don't know.
or is that some weird quirk thing with?
I mean, he was just washing them, I guess.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
washing them
I
out.
guess you're probably not gonna wash your socks like in a washer. Like I was
Because I feel like
hotels
I've
have
seen
that.
I
but
feel like I've seen that like in other movies or
probably.
somewhere.
It's
And I'm like,
probably
is
just
it
an
something-
old way of doing it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Because it seems so weird. I was like, when I thought about it, I'm like, I've seen that before. I don't remember where,
Yeah.
but
Little House on the Prairie.
maybe, maybe.
So then we end up. They wake up. We wake up in the morning, and they're both kind of like snuggling.
Yeah,
Like John Candy's like spooning with him, and then
Kisses his ear.
yeah, and they're sitting there, and he says something. He goes, Dell, and he says, yeah. He says, where's your hand? Or yeah, he says, where's your hand?
Between
Or,
two
Why
pillows.
don't you just kiss my ear?
Yeah, yeah. And he goes,
He's like, why are you holding my hand?
yeah, and he goes, where's your other hand between these two pillows? And he goes, those aren't pillows? And they both like scream, get up out of bed, and they're like, oh, and they're like wipe themselves down. They go, yeah, how about that game last night? You know, and then they're talking, oh, crazy, yeah.
Yeah. Cubs are going all the way this year, or whatever. I feel like one scene was cut out of that like whole hotel sequence because we see John Candy like use the vibrating bed.
Yeah.
Where he's like when Steve Martin's in the shower, he's like using the bed, and he's like, they talk about it whenever they're going to sleep. He's like, "Oh, sorry about the beer." He's like, "You put it on a vibrating bed. What did you think was going to happen?" Because I thought that there was like a seat, like obviously cut out, where they like, "Hey, you want a beer?" And it's like, like all over his side of the bed. He's like, "Now I have to sleep in a puddle."
That definitely should have been in there.
I don't know. I think it's funnier that it's
just
not,
like implied.
Yeah. That they just like talk about it, and you just can tell that he's seething because of that.
I was surprised at the like how early that one scene of like endearment that they have, where obviously they're arguing because Del is an intolerable human being, and they start arguing with each other, and then Del is like, "You know what? Yeah, I'm not perfect, but I like me. My wife likes me. I'm the genuine article." You know, that was like a real bonding moment. I was like, that's really early in the movie. It's like almost not even 30 minutes in. Usually that's like a third act type of thing.
Right.
But I mean, there's plenty of those because of everything that happens throughout the movie.
It's like there's endearment, but then like they still go at it pretty heavily later on.
The one thing that I find weird is like the one scene where the teenager just comes in and like steals their money.
Oh yeah,
like that's such a weird. Like I know you needed that because like obviously they needed them to have no money or whatever.
Well, that was like their immediate.
You also
back at each other's.
You had to have that so that they're back at each other's throats.
Yeah,
like,
it's just kind of
because he thinks that he stole the money.
It feels out of place, is all.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you also think about it, it's a seedy motel.
Yeah.
They're on ground level. It's easy for somebody to just break right in and take shit.
That is a great scene, though, after they're eating breakfast, and they're like, "Oh, well, Neil is like, I'll take care of this," and he like opens his wallet, and he's like, "You know where it is," and he's like, I have 200 and however much dollars in that wallet, count it, no, nothing more, nothing less," and he opens it up, and he's like, nothing in there. He's like, "It's empty." What? It is.
Yeah. And then
we've been robbed.
Yeah, we've been robbed. No shit. Oh, do you think so? Yeah, that was his whole. And then when do they get on the train? Oh, because they find out that there's no flights leaving to Chicago, so they're like, well.
They catch a train because of another one of Del's connections. And
his son
the son
picks him up. Well, do you know who the son is?
No.
His name's Dylan Baker, and he plays Dr. Curtis Connors in this Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
Wow.
Because I told Shawn when we were watching it, I was like, "Do you know who that is?" And he's like, "No." I was like, "That's Dr. Connors." And he's just... spend like his tobacco.
It's like, he's like, "Get out of there and get armed."
"Mommy, would you get out? Get off your lazy ass and get in here and load up." No, we got it. No, she's or what was that?
She's more capable.
She's skinny, but she's strong. Her first kid come out sideways. She didn't scream or nothing.
It's a great line. They're like, "Oh, we got it. And then they're on the. They're in the back of the truck, like freezing because they're like going like 40 miles somewhere.
And there's just gloves sitting there,
and then there's vicious dog.
So Neil reaches for them, and this dog just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it comes literally like out of the hay bale.
Yeah.
I love
as if it wouldn't have jumped sooner.
Yeah, I love whenever, or they wouldn't have noticed it when they get in the truck.
Yeah. They had to have stepped on it to get in the truck.
But after they're like pulling up to the station, it's like them and they're frozen, and then it cuts to the dog, and it's like covered in snow and frost, and it looks frozen too. That's a great gag.
It's still snarling at them.
But then they get on the train. Which is funny that, like, obviously the name of the movie's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where they actually use all three of those modes of transportation to get back to Chicago. But they're going to get on the train, and Neil's like, "Oh, well, it was great, hanging out with you, but bye." And then it breaks down. Does it ever explain why it breaks down?
No,
it just breaks
train
down.
Just broke down,
Yeah, and they have to walk to wherever.
It's like the fire got too hot or something. Burn up the... I don't know.
But that's pretty funny whenever it's just Dell like dragging his crate like
Yeah, they're
over
both
the
like
over like corn stalks and just like
Yeah.
and then this is another. There's a few scenes where you're like, wow, Neil is like such a shitty guy. But
Yeah.
it's like, oh well, he has his moments of redemption because he's like he helps Neil out with his thing, and then like later on in the movie, whenever he invites him into the hotel and all that stuff. But yeah, because you can't have a completely irredeemable character.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is a not pleasant person.
No.
I'll say that.
Yeah, he can be a bit of an asshole.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of I watched it front to back, but I'm kind of drawing a blank from the train to the car.
To the car rental.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he just go a separate way at that point and leaves Dell at the station. He's like, I'm gonna go get a rental car.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they're at like the food court, and then Dell is getting money by selling the shower ring.
Okay, I do
selling
remember.
them as earrings.
Yeah,
As
he's like,
earrings,
it's an
I remember
earrings
that.
or like an old Chinese jade like ring. It's only a replica, but
This is your Walter Cronkite moon ring.
Yeah. Yeah, like just like
They're filled with helium, so they're very light.
yeah, he just
I
like,
remember that now.
he's like, oh, it makes you look older too to the teenage girls.
Yeah, and they hand him money.
Yeah, so he buys them lunch, and then Neil's like, I think we work better separate, and he's like, oh well, obviously Dell takes offense to that because he thought they were getting on pretty good.
Yeah.
But clearly he's getting on his nerves, and yeah, so they go their separate ways, and then they each individually head to the airport to buy a rental car, but Neil can't because. Or he does, but the car that he rents isn't there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they drove him
He took a bus or
buses.
something.
Yeah, a bus to that parking lot, and then we get one of the greatest scenes in the movie when he goes back to the rental place after trudging through snow
Yeah.
and getting like mud splashed on him and shit like that.
That is a great scene.
He goes up to the customer service and throws about I don't know how many I want to know how many times he throws the F-bomb out there, but he has to say it like 24 times in that span of like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
With John Hughes, is it rated R because
Yes.
of that? Yeah.
Yes.
So the studio wanted him to take that scene out to keep it a PG-13 rating, but he was adamant about it staying in, so he elected to have his movie be rated R so that less people could see it, so that scene would stay in the movie.
Wow.
Because it's like one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
You should see the TV version.
I was
They just like can't even like do anything with it.
I was wondering like what they did with that scene when I was watching. I was like, because I didn't know this movie had any vulgarity. I was
Oh yeah,
like
big time.
I didn't know that, so I was like, oh.
I wonder if it would have went any different if Neil would have went to the other attendant at the whatever it was, Enterprise or whatever the fuck it is. Obviously, it's too early for Enterprise, but because she's like on the phone with her sister or whatever, she's like, "Oh no, Mom's gonna make mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the cranberry sauce." Gobble gobble. She like gobbles.
Yeah, she gobbles.
And she goes, "Ooh," and then hangs up. Yeah. And then she's talking to Neil, and he throws all the F-bombs out. And then at the end, she's like, do you have your rental agreement? And he's like, I threw it away. And she goes, oh boy. And he goes, oh boy, what? And she goes, you're fucked. Like, that's the greatest payoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes out to the taxi driver or whatever, and is like, "Hey, take me to Chicago." And he's like, "You're in St. Louis, right?" And he's like,
If
"Yeah."
I wanted a joke, I'd go pull you into the jaw and watch you take a leak. And then the guy gets like pissed off at him, and then he punches him in the face and drops him down. Dell shows up.
Yeah, he almost
Oh,
He
it's
almost
Dell.
runs him over.
Yeah.
And he's like, or he says something. And he's like, "How dare you, you insensitive asshole!" Like, and he's like talking to him, and he's like, he says something, and he's like, "Well, I want you to help him off the ground." And he's like, with pleasure, and grabs him by his balls and like
lifts him up off the ground.
And then we get the following scene where he's riding with Dell and they're talking and he's like, I've never seen a man picked up by his schnutz before. They're like talking about it, and then Steve Martin starts to talk and his voice is like real high pitch.
It's pitch high. Oh, we forgot one of my favorite jokes in the movie. Whenever whenever they're in the hotel, the first hotel, and he's like, oh, well, I've got some complaints about you too. And it's like, oh yeah. And it's like, you play with your nuts an awful lot. He's I do not.
No, this happens in the car.
Oh, does it?
Yes.
Oh,
in
okay.
the car.
Oh,
I thought that was at the hotel.
No.
But yeah, you play with your nuts an awful lot.
Play with your balls a lot. I do not play with my balls a lot. Larry Bird doesn't do as much ball handling as you do in an hour.
He's like, it would make me really happy if you didn't do that. He's like, oh, if you didn't play with your balls so much. He's like, you know what would make me happy? Yeah, an extra pair of balls and another set of hands. That was so fucking funny.
I love that joke.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite joke of the entire movie. That or whenever they're on the highway, they're obviously taking shifts.
Yeah.
They're on the highway and Dell gets stuck.
Oh, yeah.
Because Parka is like, oh yeah, whatever, his parka is too hot. He's like, oh yeah, you should take that off. And he gets stuck on the one side and stuck on the other side. And
he starts steering with his knees.
Yeah. But whenever they get back onto the highway and they're going the wrong way, and then they go in between the two semi-trucks, and they're like, it's the skeletons for 2 seconds, and then Neil looks over to Dell, and he's dressed as a devil, and he's like, ah! That's probably my second favorite joke of the entire movie. That reminds me of my favorite scene from Home Alone, just a small tangent, is whenever he's grabbing the electric wires, and he's like, oh, and he turns into the skeleton.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's such a great joke, but it just is. It's like
very cartoonish.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Is there, but it cuts to them going through the semi-trucks, and it cuts both of them to skeletons. And they're like,
this
dressed
movie,
up
I
as
thought
those
it was kind
characters.
of weird. I mean, it was funny,
Oh, yeah.
but I thought it was just kind of weird. I was like, what?
That is definitely the most outlandish scene in the movie. And then,
yeah, Dell is the devil. Just laughing at him.
And then, obviously, the car burns down because Dell flicked out a cigarette that just went right back into the car.
Yeah.
After they
Takes forever to catch fire.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, it is on the leather upholstery.
Which is why he was like trying to take his park off.
Oh, yeah.
Because the car was burning without them knowing. And then whenever they jack the brakes after they get in between the two semis, and then the trunk and everything just like flies like 100 yards like past the car.
The trunk that's also attached to the trunk lid.
Yeah. Just flies off.
The whole thing just goes.
Yeah.
And Neil goes and helps him pick it up and drag it in, even though he almost got him killed.
And then they sit down and they're both just sitting there, and you just see the glow behind them, and they're just like. And then like Dell turns around, and he's like. Then they both just kind of look at each other like. And then they have their conversation about it. He says something about they put his diner's card back in his wallet.
Oh yeah, he's like, I have something to tell you.
Yeah.
He's like, how did you rent that without any money? He's like, well, I have a confession. It seems that our diner cards got switched at the last hotel. He's like, I knew you were a thief. He's like, no, it wasn't. I honest. And it's like, well, he's like, give it back. He's like, I can't. Why? Well, because when we were at wherever.
The other, yeah. It was the other hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We skipped the whole other hotel scene.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. I forgot there's 3 hotel scenes.
Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, and that's the best part. He's like, like shaking him, and he goes, "Why not?" And he goes, "Because I put it back in your wallet." And then he like looks over at the burning car.
Yeah, let's jump back to that other hotel scene where they put a hole in the hotel, and they're just like, "Gun it!" You know, it's like,
no, that's after the car's already burnt.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yes.
Well, it's the one where he like shows his wall, or is that the same one?
It's the same one.
God damn it!
It's the same one.
I don't remember.
With the lawyer from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Well, I'm stumped.
No, we get to that part.
Yeah,
because they're driving from that from where the car burnt to the hotel. They get there, and whenever they go through the semi, do you remember Dell has on the steering wheel? The steering wheel's bent, and Neil goes, and like there's like finger like holes in the
dashboard.
Yeah.
Was there actually dashboards that were like soft enough?
No.
Or that just pure comedy?
Yeah. That's
comedic effect.
Pure visual comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So then we get to the hotel that they decide to stay at for the night, and Neil proceeds to pull his burnt credit cards out, and he's like, "This was a Discover." He's like, "Diners," like puts them down. He's like, "Nah, I'm sorry, I can't accept these." And he's like, "Okay, I got $42 and a nice watch." And he's like,
the hotel room was $42.
Yeah,
he had $17.
$17 and a nice watch. And he's like, "Okay, yeah." So he like takes it, and then he's talking to Dell, and he's like,
"I like my own difference."
Yeah, he's like, "Do you have $17 and a nice watch?" And he's like, "No, I have what was it like?
I have $2
$2
and a Casio." And he's like, "Ooh," like trying to show it off. He's like,
he like puts it on his.
Yeah. Which I was telling Shawn, that's the lawyer from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Who gets eaten by the T-Rex.
Yeah. But then Dell is just like sitting in the car. He's like gonna go to sleep in the complete a convertible at this point.
With his coat and his hat on.
Yeah, when they pull up to the hotel, like the seats are still hot and stuff, and I'm like, it's cold outside. I mean, I get the comedy aspect of it.
Yeah, it's still smoking.
Yeah. But you didn't get in it when it was that hot.
I wait for it to burn out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we have the real moment of their bonding whenever they're like, "Oh, how about a trip to
Jamaica,
man? Aye.
Which where'd they get the money for all that food and alcohol?
Assuming they just weren't going to pay.
Yeah, they just. I mean,
or was it part of like the hotel?
Well, it was probably part of the hotel, but they charged that to your credit card if you use it. But since neither of them used credit cards,
they're just going to use it all. Plus, they put a giant hole in the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
That was great too.
Yeah. When they get up in the morning and they're trying to when Neil's trying to push it.
Yeah, because it apparently snowed enough that it's literally just packed around the tires.
In the snow. So he pushes it, but he's in reverse because he's trying to rock it back and forth, and he just goes right into it, and Del just goes, "Huh?" Get in. And they just peel out across the parking lot.
That scene we get, Del's talking about his wife
because they're talking about his wife.
Yeah, because he
doesn't find out that she is passed.
No, but he's like, "Oh yeah, you gotta." Or they
spoilers. His wife is dead.
Yeah. Well, we said spoilers at the beginning, but they're talking about.
I kind of put that together myself, actually.
Yeah.
While watching.
Well, because he's like, I haven't been home in years. Back when they were eating lunch, and it's like, you haven't been home in years. He's like, oh, it's just an expression. I'm on the road so much. Yeah. And this, whenever he has a picture of his wife, and he's just like always traveling. He has that humongous trunk with him. Yeah. He's just like living out of that trunk basically. But and then they're like, I forget what they're laughing about at the hotel, but he's like, "Oh, turn out the lights," and he zaps himself and it turns off. But they put the giant hole in the hotel, and then they're on the highway and they get pulled over because they're flying. He's like, "Oh, great, a cop." It's like, "How fast you were going?"
I don't know.
The spotters melted. Yeah. So they get pulled over.
Do you find this car fit to be on the road?
I do, sir. You have no functioning instruments. Actually, the radio still works. Don't ask me how. Clear as a bell, though.
I'm sorry, but I can't let you go forward in this car. We've got to get my friend home.
All right, officer. I admit it. I broke the law, and for that, I'm sorry.
I forget how they get to the train station and the elevated train after that, because they get towed into the town. I forget what happens.
Is there a part like that?
Yeah, because they can't drive with the car, so they get towed.
The cop brings them into town, doesn't he?
Yeah, they get towed to the next town, but I forget what happens after that.
I really don't remember.
I think they just end up at the train station and they're going their separate ways. Because I think there's a train station in that town that's going to take them
to Chicago.
That's my guess anyway. Because I feel
really
like
don't
that's just where it just like happens. Is he has them towed and then that's it. Like they're in the next town and then they hop on the train station.
Which I don't know how they got a train ticket.
Oh no! I remember now.
Okay.
They go into the town. They get pulled into the town by the and they're like, oh, how are we gonna get to Chicago now? And that trucker comes around the corner.
Oh yeah,
that's right. And he's like, yeah, but we can't sit up front with him because he's like all like paranoid and everything. So it cuts to them like sitting in the freezer like section in the back of the truck. That's right.
He's like, well, Neil, if there isn't any traffic, we'll be in Chicago in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
3 hours.
3 hours.
Something like that. I can't remember. I think it was 3 hours.
Yeah, and then they end up in Chicago, and then he's gonna take the train back home. Leaves Dell at the station.
And on the train is where
he's having all of his reminiscing about their adventure, and then realizes that
he puts it all together that
his wife's gone and he has nowhere to go. So he goes back to find Dell and invites him to his house for Thanksgiving, and I don't know, presumably to live with them forever.
I don't think he's gonna live with them.
They're still living together now.
I like to imagine that he just lives like in the basement or something.
Yeah, they're best friends that over a weekend that he just lives with them. I'm pretty sure he's not gonna live with them.
Yeah, you never know.
He might get a job and get a nice house though.
If John Hughes was alive, I'd tweet at him and ask him if that was his intention.
If John Candy was alive, I'd tweet at him and ask him.
If Steve Martin was alive, I'd tweet at him.
Well, yeah, but we have a nice, heartwarming end to the movie. They despite all of their horrible differences, they
I guess we don't get like a dinner scene. It ends at the door.
Yeah, well, he's like, I'd like to introduce you to my friend. And he's like, hello, welcome home, or whatever. And then that's the end of the movie.
Yep.
He just stays on John Candy's face.
Yeah.
And then John Candy lives with him for the rest of his life.
So, solid Thanksgiving movie.
And never a turkey is seen.
Yeah.
Not even in the pageant scene? Whenever their daughter's doing the pageant?
Oh, I guess there probably was like they were like dressed as pilgrims and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Unless there's an actual, or when he's imagining being home, he pictures his wife.
He does picture them eating dinner at the. Okay,
she's like putting the
basting the turkey or whatever.
I knew there was a word there. I couldn't think of it. You do see a turkey.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah.
But it has all the good warm feelings of Thanksgiving. And a pie.
Yeah.
Which is all you really want in a movie. Like, of this caliber. Which is
actually just taken off the catering table.
Yeah.
They're like, hey guys, we don't have time to run to the store. We're going to take these and set them on the table.
I was asking Aaron if this was like the first road trip movie, but we came to the conclusion that Vacation came out before this movie.
Oh, okay.
But I think that might be the very first one. But it's like an interesting take on the road trip movie.
Yeah, it's probably the first. Well, I guess Vacation was funny.
Yeah, very popular.
Never really seen that either.
It's a good one.
The Christmas Vacation.
We need to quit talking about movies.
Christmas Vacation is the best National Lampoon's Vacation movie.
Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
You never watched Christmas Vacation either?
No.
It's great.
Today's not my day. I haven't known any movies that you guys have talked about today.
Not even Spider-Man.
Nope, never seen Spider-Man.
None of them?
Yeah,
none of them.
We haven't talked about Spider-Man at all on this channel. Not even once.
No.
Wow.
Never seen that. What's that? Sam Raimi guy.
Sam Raimi.
I'm pointing to the notification that I'm going to put on.
Okay.
You mean this one?
Yeah.
The powers that be.
But I don't think we went through the whole movie.
Yeah, that's
other than highlighting any more of the comedy that we might have overlooked. Just a great feel-good Thanksgiving movie for the season. I think we should rate it now.
Yeah. A lot of colorful characters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
John Candy, peak performance by him.
Yes.
Really a soul taken too soon. He was great.
I haven't.
Everything.
I really haven't seen that many Steve Martin movies either. I mean, Cheaper by a Dozen.
He always plays like the straight man. Like he's hardly ever like a goofball.
The jerk.
Well, yeah,
That's an exception where he literally plays a goofball. And Little Shop of Horrors, he's definitely not playing. He's playing an off the wall version.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's not his prototypical character.
No, he usually is just playing the straight man.
Yeah,
because he's suited for that role.
Yeah.
Did he ever have hair that wasn't gray?
No,
he's literally like always had white hair.
No, he
like you can tell he's definitely obviously way younger than now.
Yeah, because I looked that up at one point.
I mean, this movie's 40 years ago and he had white hair.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Hold on, we're gonna find out.
It's kind of
how long exactly he is.
Kind of like Strickland from Back to the Future. Jesus, did that guy ever have hair?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and Doc Brown also has white hair all the time.
Yeah.
Steve Martin went gray by the time he was in his 30s.
Jesus.
And he is currently...
I mean, I do see people that I graduated with, and they have gray hair.
Oh, I mean, I'm getting gray hair. I'm getting it on my sides.
Yeah, but you're not...
Steve Martin.
You're not Steve Martin.
He is 76.
Jeez.
So.
He's had gray hair for 50 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's his brand at this point.
Oh yeah, no, it's part of his look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to recognize. Well, you could still recognize him in Little Shop of Horrors, but his hair was black.
Yeah.
In that, so it was
It was. I don't know if it was a wig or just colored his hair.
Probably just colored his hair.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, yeah. Who wants to rate first?
I'll go.
I'm never first.
You know what? I'm going to pass it off to you.
Okay, I'll go first.
Your first enterprise with this film.
Yeah, so I'm going to go from a comedy aspect on like how much I laughed. I'm going to go like 8 out of 10 because I don't know. I didn't really think I was going to laugh as much as I did. I'm not sure why I felt like that, but just because I'm not too knowledgeable about them. Like everybody says they're funny, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to find them funny. So I was pleasantly surprised. I like that there's no like real long build up to it. It gets pretty much into the comedy.
It's basically directly into it.
Yeah.
The only slow scene in the movie is literally the opening scene, which is intentional, where he's like, I've got to fucking catch this plane, you know? Where their boss is
that was a great scene because
hold on, there's a post-credit scene to this movie.
Shit, I didn't see it.
Yeah, the boss is still looking at the magazine covers.
Yeah, that's
like on Thanksgiving Day. Like he has a plate there, like he just ate, and he is still looking at like both the posters.
Yeah, Aaron and I were just like talking during the credits, and then it like cuts to that scene. We're like,
yeah, I never knew. And he's like frantic at this point. He's like. And he's like trying to like pick.
I don't know if it was something we watched on here, but there was something that was super old that also
James and the Giant Peach also had a post-credit scene.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Yeah,
because I said that I was like, oh, another one that we didn't know had a post-credit scene.
So that was significantly longer before that, even. So
and then John Hughes did another post-credit scene with Ferris Bueller the following year.
So is this the first post-credits?
It might be. Very first stinger. Except it didn't sting to anything. It was just this joke after credits.
They're opening the John Hughes cinematic universe. They're gonna bring Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller is actually
They're gonna show up together. Yeah. They're gonna work at the same marketing firm later on.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll second your 8 out of 10. It's a classic Thanksgiving holiday movie, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
2 comedic powerhouses working off of each other. They have fantastic chemistry. Like basically all the jokes land. Very, very, very heartwarming too. So that's my reasoning for it.
I'm gonna echo both of you.
Yeah.
Another 8. Classic. Yeah.
I did a great job starting at 8.
Yeah, really set the tone for it.
Wait, is this episode the 100th?
Next episode is going to be the 50th episode.
50th episode. Why did I think it was the 100th?
Yeah, actually, I think next episode's 50. I'm not sure. It's close.
We're getting
It's
close.
either going to be. I think this is 49, and the next one's going to be 50.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In 2 years would be what? Because January is 2 years of us doing this, isn't it?
January, yeah.
Yeah.
Started in 2020, January 2020.
I was just thinking of this today at work. But anyway.
Go back and watch our entire catalog and see how we've evolved.
You might win a prize.
We don't have any money.
I didn't say it was money.
We're going to give
I
you
left it ambiguous.
Aaron's shirt.
Aaron's shirt.
No, this is mine.
Anyway, we are going to have another recommendation for us. Possibly episode 50, I can't recall, from Mike's
I
turn.
think it is 50. I don't know. Anyways, it's going to be a tour.
Is it Christmas themed?
Nope.
How dare you?
I know. Bah humbug. Just because,
I won't review it.
Yeah.
I refuse.
just because I haven't seen them, we're going to do the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Oh, you haven't seen them?
Yes, I've seen them. We just made a joke about not seeing Spider-Man.
I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. It's Mike's first time watching the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Wow, you're really banging home episode 50 with Andrew Garfield's.
The first
Spider-Man
one's
movie.
good, all right? It's the second one that I don't like.
We're going to have a throwdown on Spider-Man.
No, I actually, yeah, that's good. That works perfect. Good job, Mike.
I mean, yeah, because
We already covered the Raimi.
Yeah.
Might as well cover the web.
And then by the
The
time
web
that comes
to,
out, it'll be like a week till the new Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so.
that's kind of why I figured I'd capitalize on the opportunity.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of them actually does take place during Christmas time. I'm not entirely sure. At least winter. Anyway, if you don't want to be spoiled for next episode 50, for the Mark Webb, The Amazing Spider-Man movies, make sure to watch those before next time. We'll be having a spoiler discussion about them.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation about planes, trains, and automobiles. We sure enjoyed having it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this to all your friends, all that fun stuff. And have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bah humbug.
Gobble, gobble.
Go!